What do you think we should offer?
Absolutely. Let me put on my real estate agent hat for a moment. So, as your agent, I'd say we want to weigh a few key things.
Will there be a day where we eliminate real estate agents altogether because of AI? That day might come someday, but then let's see if how ready it is today. So I've got ChatGBT open right now, and let's go ask some basic questions. And before you think I'm just going to ask some loaded question, no, let's ask some very basic questions that happen in just about every real estate transaction. So let's see. Hey, Emma.
Hey there. I'm all ears and ready to help. Whether it's more about your video script or anything else on your mind, just let me know.
No, not my video scripts. Let's talk a little about real estate and talk to me like a real estate agent. So I'm a real estate buyer and I'm going out there shopping. There's this house that I'm looking at and it's priced at $700,000. There's comps in the area where one sold at $750,000 after only 1 week on the market. That one is superior. However, there's another comp that sold for $690,000 and it sat on the market for 60 days. What do you think we should offer?
Absolutely. Let me put on my real estate agent hat for a moment. So, as your agent, I'd say we want to weigh a few key things. You've got that superior comp that went quickly at 750, and that shows there's demand when a home's really well positioned. On the flip side, that 690 sale sitting for 2 months tells us there's a range of values in the neighborhood depending on condition and timing. My advice, we might want to come in a bit under the 700K asking price if we think there's room. Maybe start with a slightly conservative offer, but we'll keep in mind the competition and how the seller might view those faster sales. It's all about reading the market and having that conversation with the listing agent. So let's aim strategically and see how the seller responds.
Pretty insightful answer that my AI gives, and I call her Emma. But let's be real, there's more context that's needed here, and the key with ChatGPT or any kind of AI is the prompting. More information you give it, the better the answer is going to be. So let's see if we could get a little more info out of her, because there's a lot of the pieces of the puzzle that's missing here. Hey Emma, I forgot to add that this is the 3rd week on the market, and then the agent's telling me that she has 5 offers. They're all above asking price. What do you think we should do?
Absolutely. Let's factor that in. So if it's the 3rd week on the market and the agent's letting us know there are already 5 offers, all above asking, that definitely changes our strategy a bit. In a situation like this, it's a sign the property is pretty hot. We'd likely need to come in strong if we really want it. That might mean going above that 700K asking price ourselves to be competitive. We'll also want to consider any terms that make our offer more appealing, maybe a quicker closing or fewer contingencies. Basically, in a multiple offer situation like this, we want to put our best foot forward if it's a home you really love. Let's talk through how high you're comfortable going and we'll craft a competitive offer. There we go. So whenever you need...
It's a very insightful answer there, and she's suggesting that we come above the asking price. Again, context key is key over here, because this could be a weekend for all we know where 5 new listings came on the market and you actually have a pretty big safety net. So real estate's all about scarcity. If you think this is the only property for you, you're going to probably want to come a little more aggressive. However, if you've got a safety net and there's a couple other properties that could be plan B or plan C, then you might want to be a little more aggressive with your offer. Some of you might have picked up the red flag or potential red flag over here. 3 weeks on the market and all of a sudden 5 offers come out of nowhere. Well, again, there could be a lot of things here at play. I've seen properties where they sat on the market simply because the seller wasn't allowing showings, or because they were having some repairs done and the listing remained active, and all of a sudden that 3rd week had open house and just had a flood of people through. So a lot of things need to be researched over here. And there's a lot of situations too where you might have rapport with that agent. They might be someone that works in the same office, or that agent might be someone that's done a past transaction with you, and they might just be they might just be forthcoming and tell you what those other offers are. It's nothing sleazy or anything like that, but sometimes transparency actually benefits both sides of the transaction. So kudos to ChatGPT on that one for coming up with a pretty good real estate answer. Now let's try something else here. Hey Emma, talk to me like a real estate agent. I'm in escrow right now on a home, and I'm representing the listing side. The buyer's asking for everything on the inspection report, and it totals $15,000. They're saying that it needs a new roof. How do you think we should proceed?
Absolutely. Let's dive into it like a real estate agent would. So you're representing the listing side, and the buyer's basically handed over a repair list that adds up to 15K, including a new roof. Now, from the listing agent's angle, the first step is to figure out how reasonable these requests are and how they stack up against the market. Is the roof truly at the end of its life, or are they pushing for a full replacement where maybe a repair would do? What I do is start by getting a bit more context. You can talk to your seller about whether there's any wiggle room or if there's something they're willing to negotiate on. Sometimes meeting halfway on a couple of big ticket items can keep the deal moving smoothly. On the flip side, if the market's hot and you've got other interested buyers, you might push back a bit and say, look, we're not doing a full roof, but we can offer a credit or a smaller fix. It's all about balancing what's fair, what keeps your seller happy, and what's going to close the deal without losing the buyer. Let's figure out.
Actually, she did give a really good answer there, because I didn't think she was going to get into it, but the key is pretty much what she said. If we had some buyers waiting in the wings, if we had some backup offers, then maybe we could push back a little bit more. But if the house has been sitting on the market for 6 months and this has been our only buyer out there, the buyer probably knows that they're in control and you almost have to do whatever they want. So I always tell buyers and sellers that you're not negotiating against each other. You're negotiating against the market. So again, if you have a safety net and you think that there's a buyer out there who's willing to pay that price that you're in escrow at and not have to do that 15,000 credit, then you could probably start all over from there. Again, context is key over here. When you're looking at comps, I always tell buyers and sellers that you have to look at prevailing condition of those comps. If they're all brand new and they've all got perfect roofs, so for you to bring that up to prevailing condition, you might have to go get a new roof. But in most cases, no, you don't have to do it. And in this case over here, there's a whole lot more context needed, but then I'll give ChatGBT probably a 7 out of 10 for that answer. So I hope you enjoy that, seeing what the future holds for AI in real estate. Again, I'm Edwin Balloy. You can go to my website, midriseliving.com, for more properties and home value.